We got on live and we are a few minutes early because the last few weeks we've had to erase everything and start over. So I'm going to we're on about 3 minutes early. So I'm going to just kind of chit chat for a little bit um, and give everybody a chance to come on because we are early. But again, I didn't know if we would get on. As you know, I've had a lot of issues with my internet. Sheila's from Amsterdam says hello, Diana. So she was ready for us. Please, I'm the one that's early. You're not late. Okay. And Sheila says, Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. And the birds outside are singing, but we are about to enter a heat wave. And I guess it's going to get up into the low 90s tomorrow. It's in the low 80s today. And it's been pretty wet. So the dry is kind of welcome and the sunshine. And there she is. She's sound asleep. You'll probably see her move over to her bed. That's little Piper. And you can kind of see her little ruffled diaper there in the back. She's doing great, though, other than the need to have a diaper in the house. And the vet is really surprised, honestly, that she's even still alive. And Sheila says, Amsterdam, 98 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not able to translate that. To degrees. I'm not very good at that. I'm terrible at math. I was talking to a friend earlier and I said, talk to me about poetry. That I know. And she says, yes, it's hot. Ha ha. Yes. We're probably pretty close. 98 degrees Fahrenheit and 90 or 82, 30 Celsius. Oh, Sheila, you're showing off, girl. You know so much. I have clients from all over the world, and I am so grateful that they're able to speak. I love it. Well, you should. You're a very smart woman. I know. I've read for you. I know how smart you are. But I have clients from all over the world, and I am so grateful that others are able to speak English because I am terrible at math and foreign languages. As a girl, I studied French and I studied Spanish, and I can't speak either. Anyway, it's 1:00, so we are going to get started now. And from Piper and I, there we go. She's there. She's sound asleep. She is sleeping a bit more, but you'll probably see her move over to her bed shortly. The floor is a bit cooler and it's comfortable in here, but it's I don't have all that fur. And Sheila says, Piper, you are amazing. You're still with Mama. Yes, the vet is very surprised, but she's eating well. She's playing ball. And again, other than the need to wear a diaper, she's doing great. So we told the vet we were going to create a miracle, and we are. Anyway, let's get going. And we will also get a message from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip, which is just an oracle book. So we will just open to any page and get our message for the week. And this is thank you for your questions. If you have questions, just put them in the comments below, which is one of our viewers did. And that's where this question comes from. Or you can email me. My email is basically it's on my website. And my website's just my name, www.dianarankin.com. And if you have private questions, go to my website and either email me or go ahead and phone. And if you don't get me directly, leave a message and I'll phone you right back and we'll set up an appointment. Gaida says, hello, everyone from Gaida in Woodridge, Illinois, USA, and sending hearts to all of us. Okay, our question this week is, what would a calling be or sound like? I am going to interject throughout what I'm reading for Phillip to kind of a little bit bring it back to earth a little bit. But I think he explains it pretty well. But I will tell you a little bit of my own journey within this that I think will help. So here we go. What would a calling be or sound like? Let us first describe what a calling is. While you were in spirit world before this birth into this human life, you chose what life would be. Usually only those souls who have multitude incarnations, what we refer to as old souls, will remember this. Next week we are going to talk about why it's helpful to have a spirit guide that you work with, such as my Phillip, and we'll talk about that next week. That comes from when I was like 5 years old, so stay tuned for next week. Back to the calling. Your calling in this life stems from what you arrange and agree to. This said, we add that not everyone has a calling. If you question whether or not you have a calling, you do. Often a calling is thought of as a spiritual awakening. Yes, it can be, but it can also be a calling to art or invention, and certainly a calling can be to be a healer, to teach others how to help one another, or to work to feed others or build shelters and so on. So what Phillip is saying here is a calling. It isn't always what we think it is. It isn't always to, for example, be a minister or to do what I do, to be an intuitive or psychic, whatever word you prefer. When I was little, I always say I jumped out of my mother's womb, pen in hand, because I have always written. And my calling has always been to use words, either written or spoken, to help others. When did I discover that? I think we often discover it in hindsight. And when I was in I always did it. I always wrote. I've been writing my whole life. And I've always been there as the one with advice. I've always been there, even as a child, as the one who had the answers, not as a smart aleck, but was able to help my friends. I was the one friends came to when they needed to just bare their hearts. So I've always felt that we're supposed to help each other. That was never a question for me. It took me years to recognize not everybody thinks like me. Not everybody uses the same words that I use to describe something. So it took me a while to recognize that what is my calling. And I was in my 50s, and for a long time, I would say, help me understand what my calling is. And at the same time, I was doing readings, I was writing, I was doing I don't want to say on stage, but I was in front of audiences. I guess that's on stage. And so I was living my calling without realizing it. I realized it in hindsight. And I think that's very true of many of us. We see, I've been doing my calling all of my life, but we didn't realize it except in hindsight. I'm going to go on with what Phillip has to say now. If you feel you have a calling, you do. So whoever asked our friend who asked this question, and whoever feels is asking themselves, do I have a calling? Yes, you do. Yes, that's what Phillip is saying. If you feel you have a calling, you do. This has been with you since birth, so you already know what it is. However, you may not recognize it. Usually there are two ways humans recognize their calling. One, it is what you call a light bulb moment. The other is more subtle. When you ask yourself, is this it? Is this what I've been doing all along? And for me, it was the second. It was a bit more subtle. And I'm thinking, this is what I've been doing all along. Whether a quick, jolted recognition or a subtle understanding, you come to understand you've been living your calling all along in one form or another. For example, let's say your calling is to spread kindness. Have you not spent your life being kind to others? Have you not been teaching others to be kind? Is your calling to go on stage and teach others to be kind? That's up to you. So what Phillip is saying here is how you express the calling. Well, let me go on and give you Philip's words. The expression of your calling depends on how you choose to live your life. This is a choice I've made to go on YouTube. This is fulfilling my calling, but it's not about being on YouTube that fulfills it. My calling is to use words spoken and written to help other people. That's my calling. How I express that calling is up to me, my choices. So this is one of the ways I choose to express that calling. Philip goes on to say, so how do you recognize your calling? Simply look at your life. All have themes through their lives. What is your theme? What have you dreamed about, wished for, spent your life doing? Look deeper, for this is your calling. The expression of it is your choice. Again, I've been chosen my whole life to write. I have 207 journals that I've filled. How I use that, again, is up to me. How I speak, how I use words is my choice, depending upon how I want to live my life. I've never had the desire to be on a huge stage and speak to thousands and thousands of people. That's not been my desire. I even have difficulty with the video because I like the one-on-one. I like being in front of a group of maybe just a few thousand or maybe only 12. That I can interact with my audience. I like that. So I've never had that need to be hugely successful. Now I'd like my books to be, but that's a different story. I love helping people individually. I've learned to love to do this because of people like you who come live and hold me in the energy. People like you who aren't able to come live, but come and leave a message. It's very, very helpful, and I thank you. Two things I want to say. A couple of other videos I have out there, because I do want to say, if you're asking what is my calling, use your intuition. Your intuition's there. Use it. It'll tell you. The other thing is muscle testing will help. I have videos on muscle testing, and I have a video on I think I call it the glass of water trick or something like that. Just go to my channel and on the search do glass of water. I think it's find answers with a glass of water or something like that, and that will also help you. So other videos I have will be of help to you, and you're probably already living your calling, most likely. All right, we're going to just flip through and we're going to get an answer. I'm hearing left. If you heard left, our intuition is in sync, and that's our message for everyone. If you heard right, that's a message you need to pay attention to. So left is page 48, and it says, so I don't like this one. So where is it written on your birth certificate that this one shall have an easy life? So where is it written on your birth certificate that this one shall have an easy life? That's page 48. And I will tell you, living your calling is not necessarily easy, because to really move into it, you've got to do a lot of healing of everything that's in the way. But you've also, like, I'm a heart healer. And so I've had to have my heart broken open, not only for more love to come in, but so I really understand what it's like to have your heart broken. How could I intuitively, psychically relate to others and really understand their grief if I've never felt it? So remember, so where is it written on your birth certificate that this one shall have an easy life? We never read the small print, did we? If you heard right, this is page 49, and this is a message for you. Do not pass into sleep when your body is tired and your mind is in need of rest. Will you not then pass into death when your body is weary and your mind depleted? I'll read it again. Do not pass into sleep when your body is tired and your mind. Do you not pass into sleep, Do you not pass into sleep when your body is tired and your mind is in need of rest? Will you not then pass into death when your body is weary and your mind depleted? Page 49. This doesn't mean, if you heard right, this doesn't mean you're about to die. Mm-mm. What it does mean is perhaps you know of somebody who is grieving, and this may help them. That death is a normal, natural part of life. We're just not in any hurry for it. Sheila says, thank you. And I'm so glad that Gilda and Sheila were able to join us today. And I'm so grateful for each one of you. Leave your comments below or go to my website and get my email address and my phone if you want a private message. Thank you. And she is still sleeping back there, so we're not going to disturb her. She is sound asleep, isn't she? She just had a treat. Thank you, my friends. I love you, and I'll see you next Friday. By the way, today is the first day of summer, so happy summer solstice. She is handsome, Piper, Sheila says, and she really is. She's beautiful. She is, and a beautiful spirit. Thank you, my friends. See you soon.